Hello and welcome back to our casual English talk.
We are so happy you're here with us today.
In this session, we're talking about something that can truly change your English journey. How to think in English.
Yes, this is one of the most powerful skills for learners. When you learn to think in English, speaking becomes smoother, faster, and more natural.
And don't worry, you don't need big grammar or difficult vocabulary. You just need small habits and simple ideas.
So stay with us until the end because today we're going to share easy steps, real examples, and general tips that will help you think in English in your daily life.
All right, let's begin.
So, when we talk about thinking in English, I think many learners imagine something very complicated, like they have to change the entire language inside their brain. But the truth is much softer and much simpler. Thinking in English actually begins with tiny thoughts, really small ones, like the kind of thoughts you barely notice in daily life.
Yes, and the funny part is, people expect thinking in English to feel like a sudden switch. Like one day they wake up and their brain magically starts talking to them in English. But it doesn't happen that way. It starts very softly, almost quietly, with simple words, simple ideas, and small self-talk moments.
And I think the biggest mistake learners make is trying to translate everything. They take a sentence from their mother tongue, then they convert it into English, and by the time the English sentence is ready, their confidence is already gone. The brain becomes tired, the tongue becomes slow, and the whole process feels heavy.
That's so true. Translation feels safe, but it's actually the thing that keeps you stuck. Because when you translate, your English becomes slow and shaky. But when you start thinking directly in English, even small, simple thoughts, suddenly your speaking becomes smoother, faster, and more natural.
And you know what's even more interesting? You don't need perfect sentences for thinking in English. You don't need fancy words, and you definitely don't need complex grammar. If you can think in short, clear phrases, that is more than enough. Something like, I am walking. This is nice. I feel hungry. I need water.
Yes, and I want learners to understand this deeply. Thinking in English is not a test. It's not a moment where you must be perfect. It's just a moment where you gently guide your mind to use English instead of your mother tongue. Even if your sentence has a mistake, it's fine. Your mind still learns.
And the biggest secret is consistency. If you practice these small English thoughts throughout the day, for example, when you wake up, when you make your breakfast, when you walk to the bus stop, your brain slowly accepts English as a normal, thinking language.
Yes, because your brain loves routine. If you feed it small English thoughts every few hours, it slowly says, okay, I can think this way too. And soon, even without effort, English thoughts begin to pop up naturally.
And you don't always need to form full sentences. Sometimes you can think in words. For example, if you are washing your clothes, you can just think, clothes, washing, almost done. That's also thinking in English.
Absolutely. And another beautiful thing is that thinking in English gives you confidence before speaking. When your brain is already forming words in English, your mouth finds it easier to speak them. Speaking becomes natural because the real work is already done inside your mind.
I think this is a good starting point, helping learners understand that thinking in English is a gentle process, not a stressful one. And now that we've understood the mindset, let's talk about how to actually build this habit in real daily life.
Yes, because thinking in English doesn't start in the classroom. It starts in the kitchen, in the bus, in your room, at your work desk, basically everywhere. And there are so many small techniques that learners can use without pressure. Let's go into that next.
So, the first practical method for thinking in English is something I call micro-thinking. It means creating tiny English thoughts during very small actions. For example, when you pick up your keys, just think, keys, leaving now. When you open a window, think, fresh air. These small moments build the habit slowly.
Wait, but I want to add something here. Many learners try to make full, perfect sentences right from the beginning, and that puts pressure. So yes, I agree with your idea of micro-thinking, but I also want people to know that one or two words are completely okay. You don't always need a full sentence.
True. Actually, I think you're right. Sometimes people think too big. They think in their language first, make a big sentence, then try to translate the whole thing into English. And then they say, thinking in English is difficult.
Exactly, they create the difficulty themselves. Thinking in English starts with simple, comfortable thoughts.
Another useful method is labeling. For example, when you see objects, just give them an English tag in your mind. Phone, bottle, pillow, charger, bag.
Hmm, I slightly disagree there. Not disagree, but I think labeling alone isn't enough. Because yes, you learn the word, but thinking in English becomes stronger when you add a tiny action to it.
What do you mean?
Like, instead of only thinking bottle, you can think bottle, I need water, or bottle, keep it here. See, a small action makes it more natural.
Yes, that makes sense. Just naming an object is passive, but adding a small action turns it into thinking. Good point.
And another powerful technique is visual thinking. Instead of forming a full grammar structure in your head, imagine a picture and describe it in the simplest English possible. Like if you see the sky, you can think, sky looks calm today, or nice blue color.
And that kind of thinking trains your brain to connect visuals with English instantly. No translation involved.
But some learners tell me my mind becomes blank when I try to think in English. And I understand that feeling because it happens when you jump from 0 to 100 very fast.
Yes. If your mind becomes blank, it means you're trying to force something. Thinking in English should be soft and slow. You can start with 5 thoughts a day, just 5.
And increase slowly when it feels natural, not when it feels stressful.
Another thing I want to mention is inner conversation. That small voice inside your mind that talks to you throughout the day. Many people don't realize this, but you can gently shift that voice into English.
Wait, some people might misunderstand inner conversation. They may think it means long self-talk, like giving a speech inside the brain.
No, nothing dramatic like that. It just means the small little things you say to yourself, like, I should leave now, I need to reply, this is nice.
Yes, exactly. These little self-thoughts become the foundation.
So, to summarize this part, thinking in English in real daily life includes micro-thinking, labeling with small actions, visual thinking, and small inner conversations.
And most importantly, no pressure. If a thought doesn't come in English, it's okay. Try again later. Your mind learns slowly.
One thing I find very interesting is how our brain actually decides which language to think in. It doesn't choose based on grammar or vocabulary. It chooses based on comfort. If English feels comfortable, the brain automatically starts using it. And comfort comes only when we use English in very ordinary moments.
Yes, but I also feel that many learners expect comfort to appear quickly. They try thinking in English for one day and then say it's not working.
Yeah.
But comfort doesn't grow overnight.
Yeah.
It grows the same way a plant grows. Small water every day, not a big bucket at once.
That's a lovely example. And I think the same applies to daily thoughts. For example, when you're waiting in a line, your mind is free. These moments are the best moments to practice thinking in English. You can look around and quietly describe things like people look tired, or the line is moving slowly, or I need to buy 2 items.
Wait, let me interrupt you for a second. I just feel learners sometimes try to describe everything around them.
Yeah.
And that becomes too much. Instead, they can choose only one thing.
Yeah.
Like, this place is crowded, and then stop. They don't need to describe every person in the room.
Yes, that's true. Overthinking the environment can exhaust you. One simple observation is enough. And sometimes even that simple observation can spark a small English chain inside your mind.
Oh, and here's something important. Learners should also practice thinking in English when they're feeling something.
Yeah.
Emotional thoughts are powerful because they stay longer in the mind.
Yeah.
For example, if you're annoyed, you can think, I'm feeling irritated right now.
Yeah.
If you're excited, you can think, I'm really happy about this.
Absolutely. Actually, emotional thoughts are the strongest because they connect language with feelings. And when language connects to feelings, it becomes natural. Think of it like this. Your brain remembers emotions more than facts.
One mistake learners often make is trying to translate their exact emotional sentence from their native language.
Yes.
But emotions don't need perfect grammar. They only need simple expression.
Yes. And sometimes a small sentence is enough. I'm tired. I'm relaxed. I'm confused.
these small emotional thoughts teach your mind to use English without pressure.
And I want to add another technique, predicting.
Hmm.
When you are about to do something, you can think in English. I will call him, or I will start reading, or I will make tea.
Yeah.
These are future thoughts, and they slowly train the brain to guide your actions in English.
That's a good point. But can I say something honestly? I think some learners try predicting too many things and end up making long future plans that they can't express. So maybe they should keep predictions short and simple.
Yes, exactly. Just one small future sentence, like a soft reminder to the brain. It's not about planning, it's about training.
Another thing that I want to bring up is that thinking in English becomes easier when you don't judge yourself. Many learners think, my sentence is wrong, or this sounds childish. But your mind doesn't need perfect sentences. It just needs English presence.
And honestly, nobody will ever hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
Your thoughts are private, so why fear judgment? You're thinking for yourself, not for an audience.
Exactly. And once the mind becomes comfortable with thinking privately in English, speaking becomes the next natural step.
You know, sometimes I feel thinking in English is like building a house.
Yeah.
Each thought is a small brick. If you place a few bricks every day, one day you look back and see that something strong has been built.
Yeah.
Not because you worked hard one day, but because you were consistent for many days.
Very true. And that's the spirit learners need. Gentle consistency. Not perfection, not speed, just small, honest English thoughts throughout the day.
You know, one area where thinking in English becomes very powerful is during daily routines. These routines are predictable, so the mind doesn't feel stressed. For example, when you're making breakfast, you already know what steps you'll take, so your mind can quietly speak in English along with your actions.
Yes, but I want to add something here. Many learners think routines are boring, so they ignore them. But boring moments are actually the easiest moments to practice English thinking. There's no pressure, no confusion, no surprise, just simple steps that your mind already understands.
True. And I also feel routines give you a chance to repeat the same thoughts every day, which builds strong memory. Like when you brush your teeth, you can think, brush now, clean, done. Or when you make tea, boil water, add tea, wait a bit. These small English thoughts attach themselves to your routine.
But wait, let me interrupt you here. Some learners will think this is too simple. Will it actually help? And the answer is yes. Thinking in English does not grow through big, complicated sentences. It grows through small, repeated thoughts. Your brain loves familiarity more than difficulty.
Absolutely. And the best part is that these thoughts happen during the quiet moments of the day. When you're washing dishes, tying your shoes, waiting for an elevator, folding clothes, walking to the bus stop.
Actually, I want to give a small personal example. When I used to walk alone somewhere, I would quietly point out simple things in English, not loudly, just inside my mind, like road is empty today, or nice weather, or I'm walking fast. These tiny lines slowly replaced my mother tongue thoughts.
That's a good example, and learners can do the same. But I want to share another powerful technique, questioning yourself in English. For example, ask your mind small questions like, what should I do next? Or, which shirt should I wear? Or, what time is it?
Yes, self-questions are very powerful because questions automatically trigger answers. So the moment you ask in English, your brain tries to answer in English too.
But sometimes the answer doesn't come. And that's fine. Even if the question is in English, the training begins. People misunderstand thinking in English. They expect every thought to be perfect. But training doesn't require perfection. It only requires exposure.
And exposure can be as simple as asking yourself, where am I going now? Or why am I tired today? Or do I need a break? These everyday questions make your English thinking natural, not forced.
Another technique is to talk about future plans in your mind, but in a gentle way, not like giving a speech. Something like, I have to send a message, or I need to study today, or I will cook later.
But here I want to disagree just a little. Thinking in English at the beginning, learners should avoid making big future plans in English because that causes overthinking. If they try to plan their whole day in English, the brain gets tired.
You're right. Keeping the future thoughts short and clear is better.
One small future sentence is strong enough to build the habit.
And I also want to remind learners that thinking in English is not only about describing actions, it's also about expressing personal feelings like I'm stressed, I feel hopeful, I'm calm today. These emotional lines help you create a more honest connection with English.
Yes, emotional thinking is extremely powerful. Your brain remembers emotions faster than it remembers grammar. If you connect English to your real feelings, your mind will naturally start using English more.
And sometimes, even when you're not doing anything, that is also a chance to think in English. When you're sitting quietly, waiting for something, resting after a long day, you can gently think, I am relaxing, or I need a moment, or let me breathe. These thoughts help English enter your calm moments, not just your busy ones.
That's actually beautiful. Letting English enter your calm spaces. When you feel peaceful, your brain absorbs language even better.
You know, one thing people rarely talk about is how thinking in English changes depending on your mood. When you're calm, the thoughts flow easily. When you're stressed, the thoughts get stuck. And that's completely normal. Even native speakers sometimes struggle with thoughts when they are tired or anxious.
Yes, and learners often blame themselves. They say, why can't I think in English today? But honestly, it's not a language problem, it's just a human brain problem. The brain responds to emotions before words.
Exactly. And this is why I always tell learners, don't push yourself when you're mentally tired. Thinking in English should feel light, like a soft background sound in your mind. If you force it, it stops being thinking and becomes work.
Let me interrupt for a second. Many learners try to prove something to themselves. They want to think in English so perfectly that they become stressed. But thinking in English is not something you force. It's something you gently grow into.
That's a very good point. And actually, there's another technique that helps build this gentle habit: silent observation. When you look at something and internally describe it in the calmest way possible. For example, room is quiet, light is soft, weather feels nice today.
Yes, but I want to add something here. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of small thoughts. And if you slowly fill those small moments with English words, your brain begins to trust English as a comfortable language.
You know, there's also a technique I recommend: half-sentence thinking. It means you start a sentence in English, but you don't finish it. For example, I should, and then you let your brain complete it naturally.
Oh, yes, that's such a good method because unfinished sentences activate the brain. The brain hates incomplete tasks. It automatically tries to complete them even if the completion is simple.
But learners need to be careful. If they try finishing big sentences, they'll get stuck. Half-sentence thinking works only when the thought is short and honest, like I want, or maybe I should, or later I will.
Yes, small unfinished thoughts make the brain curious, and curiosity is a beautiful teacher.
You know, another method that helps is connecting English to your senses. For example, when you smell food, you think smells good. When you touch cold water, you think cold. When you hear a bird, you think nice sound.
Yes, because the senses don't need translation. They react instantly. And when you attach English words to your senses, English becomes a natural part of your experience.
You know, one more thing. Sometimes learners ask me, should I think in English all day? And I always say, absolutely not.
Not at all. That would be exhausting. No one thinks in only one language all day, not even native bilingual people. Thinking in English should feel like small drops, not a full flood.
Yes, just short thoughts throughout the day. That's enough. If you try doing too much, you push your mind away instead of inviting it in.
And every learner should remember this. English is not fighting with your mother tongue. You don't have to choose one. You can think in both languages. You only need to train your mind to allow English in your daily flow.
And once English enters your daily flow, thinking becomes natural, then speaking becomes natural, and slowly confidence grows. It's a step-by-step journey. You know, after talking about all of this today, I feel really happy because thinking in English is something that many learners struggle with. But when we break it down into small, friendly steps, it suddenly feels possible. It feels realistic.
Yes, and I hope everyone listening understands that they don't need perfect English to start thinking in English. They just need simple, honest thoughts. A few words here, a short line there. Little by little, the brain learns.
And I think the most important thing is to be patient. You don't have to change your mind in one day. Just give yourself permission to practice gently every day, even if it's only for a few seconds at a time.
And don't forget the techniques we talked about. Micro thinking, labeling with small actions, silent observation, emotional thoughts, self-questions, half sentences, and short future thoughts. All of these help your mind relax into English.
Yes, and remember, your thoughts are private. No one hears them. So this is your safest space to practice English without fear, without judgment, without pressure.
So keep doing it. Keep giving your mind small English moments. And one day, you will suddenly notice that English thoughts are coming to you naturally, without effort. That's when you'll know your brain has accepted the language.
Before we end today, we just want to say thank you for spending your time with us and for trusting us to guide you on your English journey. It truly means a lot.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, please like this video, subscribe to our channel Casual English Talk, and share your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what method you will try today to start thinking in English.
And we read every single comment, so don't be shy. Even a simple sentence helps you practice.
We'll see you in the next episode where we'll talk about another helpful topic to make your English journey easier and more enjoyable.
Until then, take care, keep practicing gently.
And keep thinking in English.